guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katina. I am the creator of Live Life Learn. I created this channel just to share with you guys my debt-free journey. I am on a debt-free journey if you don't know. If you're new to my channel, thank you so much and welcome. I just wanted to simply share my experience of my journey of becoming debt-free. I started this journey in June of this year, and I just wanted to share with you guys and provide as much information as possible if you're interested in getting on a debt-free journey or you want to see how the process works. So if you want to jump on this journey along with me, or if you're interested in becoming a part of the debt-free community, this is the place to be. So it is, of course, a new week. It's a new topic. The sun is shining bright. I think it's kind of warm outside. I hope so. I have to go to work. But I wanted to get this topic in before I shot out the door for work. So I have a question for you because I asked this question of myself. What is your relationship with money? That's a good question to ask, huh? You're not sure what your relationship with money is? So I'm going to have 5 tips for you that's going to help you to transform your relationship with money. So this topic might not seem important. Listen, it's funny because as I'm on my journey towards debt freedom, and I'm just, chucking along here just like the little red engine that could up the mountain, okay? But this is a very interesting and important topic because it's important that you understand your relationship with money and how it works, right? So understanding your relationship with money creates a level of awareness, and it's going to help you to learn how to manage your money. And I'm going to be very honest with you. This is a subject that I never considered asking myself what my relationship was with money. I didn't know to ask until now. And as I go and travel down this road of trying to get myself out of this debt that I created, things are just coming to me, y'all. Like, I am asking myself questions that I never asked myself before. And I just wanted to bring this particular topic to y'all awareness and, as well as mine, like on camera. Okay. So I was thinking about the topic of my relationship with money and how that all kind of formed me to be the person I am today with money, and how I basically interact with money and things like that in my relationship. So that became a subject topic for me. Actually, I started thinking about this a few weeks ago, and I just couldn't shake it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm thinking about this, but I'm glad that I did, because it's important that you are made aware of how your relationship with money has been working, what it's been like, and how it's created. So let me just talk about my relationship with money, and I'm gonna take y'all on a little story time. I love telling stories. Okay, so story time for me with you guys on how I developed my relationship with money. Okay, and I wasn't even aware of it. So typically speaking, most of our relationships with money start when we were children. And I'm going to speak about me because I can't speak for anybody else except for myself. So as I began to think about this question about relationship and money, it did start as I was a child. It developed when I was younger, at home with my mom and my siblings, and just really watching how money flow within our household, watching how money was being put to use in our home. That developed a foundation for me on my relationship with money. So my relationship with money has not been the best. It actually has been bad. I've had a bad relationship with money, right? And that's just simply my assessment of it. Now that I'm on this journey, I have an opportunity to assess how my relationships were with money and is today. So it has improved, but it's still under construction. Okay. It still needs improvement. But I concluded, as I began to really kind of meditate and think about this question about money and relationship, I concluded that it has started when I was young and watching the flow of money in and out of our house as I was growing up, and what that looked like. So it was more of, as I had mentioned in a previous video, I saw money as a way to survive. I saw money as paying bills and putting food on the table and, buying clothes at the secondhand store from time to time. And, that's how I saw the flow of money. I didn't see it any other way but that way. I, was under the impression as I grew up that money was designed to help you make it day to day, pay your bills, buy your food, help you with a place to stay, and put clothes on your back. So I didn't see it as any other kind of way of working or any other mechanism. So as I started to get older, and I acquired my first job when I was 16 years old. That's right. I started working at 16. Y'all, I remember my first job was at Pizza Hut. I was a waitress, and actually on my birthday in April, I'm an April's baby, fire sign. Hello, Aries. Whoop, whoop. Shout out to all the Aries out there. So I remember the day I turned 16 years old, y'all, I went looking for a job. Okay. That was what I wanted to do. I said to myself, girl, when you turn 16, you're going to find you a job, period. And so I set out and I actually literally went looking for a job on my 16th birthday. I did not care about a birthday party. I gave no damns about that because I wanted to work. I wanted to have my own money. I got tired of not having no money. And I wanted to hang out with my friends who had some money because their parents gave them money. And so I was like, girl, look, you need to find you a job. And so that's exactly what I did. My brother worked at Pizza Hut. He was a cook. And I told him, listen, I need a job. So I went up to Pizza Hut. And at the time, y'all, they had paper applications. And so I filled out my little application and I had an interview that on my birthday and I got hired. I got hired as a waitress, y'all. And I was so excited. And let me tell y'all know what my starting wage was as a waitress? Let me tell you what it was. $2.05 an hour. I wasn't making shit. I was making $2.05 an hour and was happy as I could be. I was so content with that $2.05 an hour. I thought I was doing something, y'all, for real though. I wasn't making any money and I thought I was. So I remember just working and going to school. I was doing both and I started off part-time and then I started working full-time and also, trying to complete high school because I realized that $2.05 an hour, it wasn't really all that much, right? And plus the tips. So the tips, y'all, my tips was not hitting, period. But at the time, I thought they was hitting on something. I remember like the first week I made $10. I was so happy, y'all. I thought I had something. $10. What? So I was so excited for my little $10 tip that I had made for the week. And so when people was giving me like tips and stuff, it'd be like $1 or $2, y'all. I was happy as shit. Like I was like, yes, I got $10. I made $10 this week. And I'm getting my check. And my check wasn't hitting on nothing. It was nothing but like, God, my check was like under $100. It wasn't a lot. If I made over $100 in a paycheck, I thought I was rich. But again, I was young. I didn't know, I didn't have a relationship with money, but I just can recall like getting that $10 tip for the week, thinking I'm doing something, getting my first check, right? Every 2 weeks, thinking I'm doing something. But when I did get my check and my tips, the one thing I can tell y'all that I did was that I spent it right away. Okay. I didn't think about saving nothing. I didn't think about, how this money could propel me if I saved it to do something else different, how I can get a car if I just simply save my money, none of that. Every time I got paid, I was at the mall, okay? Every time I got paid, I was spending it. So I didn't have a good relationship with money from when I started my very first job at Pizza Hut. And as I gradually began to get older and acquire different jobs with a little bit more pay, not much pay, but a little bit more pay, I still did not grasp the whole concept of having a relationship with money. It still remained the same. Nothing changed. I was still like spending money and I was still going to the mall and all that stuff until I got my first apartment when I was like, I think I got my first apartment when I was 20, I want to say. And when I got my first apartment, I still wasn't really doing much better. The only difference is that I had rent to pay. I had utilities to pay. So I knew that I found another job. So I had two jobs. I was still working at Pizza Hut, and then I was working at an animal hospital, in which I am legit allergic to dogs and cats. What? But I was doing what I had to do. I was sneezing and getting paid and taking orders from Pizza Hut, okay? But when I got my first apartment, I was, knew that I had bills to pay. So I had that to deal with. And so I still did not really grasp the concept of my relationship with money. I didn't have a budget. Budget never crossed my mind. Never, ever did it cross my mind. I just knew that I had some bills I had to pay, and I knew that I still wanted to go shopping. Okay. So again, as life began to progress and my jobs began to change, I still had not developed a sense of awareness as it relates to having a relationship with money. And so therefore my relationship with money was not good at all, because I thought that when you get money, you spend your money. Okay. That's the concept that I had, that, okay, girl, you getting your check, you got your little bills to pay, you pay your bills, and then you spend the rest. So saving was never, ever a part of this philosophy of mine. Okay. So it wasn't until now, y'all, years and years later, that this question about relationship and money had became a part of my thinking process. It really, honestly, it didn't start until like I started my debt-free journey. It was a couple of months into my journey that I began to question off and on what my relationship with money was and what that looked like. So I had not yet committed to really knowing or assessing that until a few weeks later. I just couldn't shake it. Like, I couldn't shake the question. It just kept popping up. Like, it would just pop up no matter what, wherever. The question would be, what is your relationship with money? And I literally had to take the time to really think about that, because it was so like pressed up on my mindset, right? It was just pressed up on my thoughts and my mind. I said, oh my gosh, okay, fine, I'll think about it. And it didn't take long for me to conclude that my relationship with money was in a bad space. It was in a bad place and a bad space, and that I needed to come to terms with that and determine how I wanted that to look for me going forward. Like, what did I want that relationship with money to look like with me going forward? And how could I transform my relationship with money? So that was the question I began to ask myself a few weeks ago. And I really began to think about, okay, girl, how can you literally, transform your relationship with money? You're on this debt-free journey. You're doing good so far. You're knocking out debt, knocking down debt doors, knocking out credit cards, 1-2 punch, sometimes a 3-4 punch with them payments. But you are actually in the process of, you're paying your debts off. You're in a good place with that. Now let's think about how you want your relationship with money to be going forward, and how can you transform your relationship with money starting now. So that's my little story time, y'all. I just wanted to give y'all a little, background info on what my personal relationship with money was just simply not the best at all. So I want to go ahead and share with you guys how to transform 5 tips. I just got 5 tips, y'all. I'm trying to stick to them 5. I got it on my paper. So I should stick to it, right? Right. So I want to give you guys 5 tips on how to transform and develop a positive relationship with your money. Because I did my research, okay? I did my own little thinking. And so this is what I came up with. So first of all, you need to understand, as I did, is that money is energy. Yes, money is energy. It's not just a thing that you exchange, okay? You're exchanging it from hand to hand, from person to person, yes, through bill paying, through lending and borrowing and buying and all that stuff, consumerism and all those things. But money in itself really is a form of energy, okay? And what I mean by that is that we are engaging in an energetic transaction when we're using our money, okay? And there is an emotional tie, okay? There is an emotional tie to our money. It really, really is. So I'm not saying that money is the end all to be all in life, because it's not, but money is important as it relates to, you know, getting things done in your life, like paying your bills and living and things like that. Money is essential. So therefore, money carries a level of energy that we are connected to. So I just wanted to be sure that I, you know, give you guys kind of like understanding that money is energy, right? We shop, we pay bills, we lend, we borrow, and all of that requires a level of energy in our transaction. It's a transactional energy, right? And I didn't think about that, you know, when I read that and I started to really kind of like think about it. I'm like, you know what? That's correct. Money is energetic. This energy that we are tied to, and it's very transactional, okay? And so therefore, like for me, for an example, with my debt-free journey, I'm not really using my credit cards, right? I'm using more money when I do transactions as much as possible. And if I do have to use my debit card, I make sure that I have the money available on that card for that thing. But it's funny because I'm using more money in my day-to-day transactions. And when I have a transaction, I'm using cash. And y'all, let me tell y'all something. I have such a hard time departing from them dollars. I have a really difficult time, sorry y'all, departing from my money when I'm at the store. So I know there has to be some energy involved in that. And I know there's an emotional, energetic tie to that, because when I'm at the store and I'm in my wallet and I have a certain dollar amount in there, like $100 or whatever, and they're like telling me my total is what, $30. I'm like, damn. So that means I'm gonna have 70 left. So I have difficulties sometimes in the store when I have cash in my hand and I'm handing it over to pay for an item. I sometimes struggle because I'm like, man, if I spend $30 on this, I'm just gonna have $70 left, and I still got a few more things I need to buy. And so there's an emotional tie between me and the money that I'm spending, and I'm deciding on whether or not is there some things that I can like eliminate? Is there some things that I don't have to have? You know, so you know, that goes to show me that really is, you know, energetic tie between you and your money emotionally, and how to utilize it and spend it. So let's get with these tips, okay, shall we? So number one, we talked about how we have to understand that money is energy. So once you understand that money is energy, okay, and there is an emotional relationship and tie between your money and the energy between your money and yourself, I think you start to really have a sense on the direction you want your money to go. You start to really kind of ponder and think about, okay, so how do I want to spend my money? Okay, what is it that I want to do with my money? If I spend my money on this, then how much am I going to have left? You really want to understand that part, and once you develop that concept, you then have a better flow of where you want your money to go. So number two, the important thing too is to do not live in regret. Now let me emphasize that. You don't want to live in regret. You don't want to be hard on yourself once you come to the conclusion that your relationship with money has not been the best. I don't know. I'm only speaking for myself. I know mine was trash, okay? So, but I was very difficult. I was not difficult, but very hard on myself about, once I concluded that I had a bad relationship with money, I was very hard on myself about my relationship with money and feeling really bad about me not really respecting the money and how it operates in my life, right? And just kind of misusing this and mishandling it and things like that, and the wastefulness of money that I had done over the years. So I did live in regret for a while, to be quite honest with you. And now that I understand money and relationships a little bit better and how to transform my relationship with money, I don't have that regret anymore. Okay, I don't feel regret. I don't feel bad anymore. So it's important that you not live in regret about how your relationship is with money, because guess what? It can be transformed. So that is number two. Do not live in regret. Number three on how to transform your relationship with money, okay, is to know your income and create a simple, I'm going to say it, the B word, create a simple budget for yourself. Now, I know budgets ain't it, right? It can be a little taxing, okay? It can be kind of boring a little bit. But just because it's boring and a little bit of taxing doesn't mean it ain't beneficial. So creating a budget is extremely important, you guys, to developing a better relationship with your money, developing a better relationship with your financing. If you want to transform your relationship with money, a budget is necessary. You cannot transform, I should say, your relationship with money. It's not going to happen unless you create a budget. You have to know what your income is, okay? And you have to know what your bills look like. So you have to create a simple budget. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. You create a budget that works for you. It doesn't have to be a spreadsheet. It doesn't have to be an app. You can just get you a pen and some paper. You can get you a pen and a notebook. It ain't got to be no fancy money journal or budgeting journal. It doesn't have to be all that. But just, get you a pen, a pencil, paper, or a notebook, and start to create a budget based on your pay period, whether it be monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly. But you want to go ahead and start a simple budget. You want to create that so that you can start to transform your relationship with money. And you know where your money flows and where it goes. Okay, that's transformational all in itself, is to be able to see your income. You could be hourly or you could be salary. And so for me, I am both. I am salary and I am hourly because I have 2 jobs, maybe 2.5. Okay. And so therefore, my budgets differ from pay cycle to pay cycle. Okay. So I have to create a budget. I have been on this budget, like consistently with a budget, since I started my debt-free journey. I had an on again, off again relationship with budgeting prior to my journey, but now I understand the necessity of having one. I understand that this is a very critical component. A budget is a very critical, I can't talk, y'all. It's a very critical component to being debt free. You have to, and it's a very critical component to establishing a sound, viable, positive, transformable relationship or transformative relationship with your money, is that you have to have a budget. So please start a budget if you want to transform your relationship with money. If you're tired of getting paid and ain't got shit left, okay, that was me. If you're tired of that, if you're like, I don't know, I'm so tired of like not knowing where my money's going, or I get paid and I have no clue, or my money's gone already before I even go to the bank and try to withdraw out some money, it's already gone. Create a budget so they can stop. Go ahead and create that budget. Very simple, no big deal. Get you a little cup of coffee or whatever you like to drink and sit down, y'all. Take some time out and create a budget so that you can transform your relationship with money, okay? And so number 4, we're almost done. Number 4 is that you want to understand what you're working with, okay? You want to, what I mean by that, you want to understand how much you got, what you got going on. That's why you need a budget, right? They kind of go, everything ties into this whole budget situation, right? Everything ties in with budgeting. It is the foundation of creating a transformative relationship with your money that's positive, right? So you want to make sure you understand what you're working with, you understand your income, and you want to live within your means, okay? So listen, as I talk to y'all about this, I'm learning to do the same. So it's not like I have it down 100. I don't. I'm learning too. So when I'm speaking to you guys, I'm also speaking to myself. I'm speaking to myself. So you want to make sure that you live within your means. And so what I mean by that is that if you want to purchase something for yourself, this is why you need a budget, okay? If you want to purchase something, you see something in the store that you like, and you're like, oh, yes, honey, I want that. I'm going to get that. I can't wait till I get my check. And then you realize when you get your check, you can't buy that thing because you don't have enough money to buy that thing because these bills are like knocking down your door, okay? So you can still get that, whatever it is that you want to have. However, you need to plan for it and that's right. I can't hear. Budget for it. You want to budget for it. So all you need to do, if there's something that you have in mind that you want to get, and you're living within your means and you understand what you're working with, you just simply need to create a sinking fund. And what is a sinking fund, you ask? Katina girl, what is that? Check out my latest video. It's in one of my videos. I did talk about how to start a sinking fund and what is the purpose of a sinking fund, right? It's another form of saving for a particular item that you want to get. So you can still get whatever it is that your little heart desires to have. You just simply need to save for it. You need to understand your money, what you're working with, live within your means, create a sinking fund, a savings plan for that particular item that you want to have. And once you establish your plan, your goal for that item, your timeline, right, you can then go get it without interfering with any other transaction within your budget. You don't have to worry about, oh my gosh, I took money from here and I shouldn't have done that because I have to pay this, that, and the third, because you already got that money saved aside. And it's such a beautiful thing to know that you have saved for something that you had your eyes on for a while. Oh, what a relief, right? So again, you want to understand what you're working with, and you want to live within your means, and you want to save for whatever it is that you're interested in purchasing for yourself. And my fifth and final tip for transforming your relationship with money into something that's positive and sustainable, right? My fifth and final tip is to find a support group, okay? You want to find a support group, a mentor. You want to check out some YouTube videos, check out my YouTube videos or whoever, okay? Check out some videos, including mine. And you want to, get some books. You can go to the library if you can get some books. You can go to the bookstore, go to Barnes and Nobles or whatever bookstores in your town. And you want to find some books about how you can establish a relationship with money, a better relationship, budgeting tips, anything that's going to inspire you and motivate you to develop a positive relationship with money. So for me, the reason why I started this channel outside of, sharing my debt-free journey with you guys and things like that, is because I didn't have an accountability partner. I don't have one, okay? Not at all. So I don't have anyone that I can call or email or text or whatever, DM about my journey. I really don't. So I decided to start this channel because I needed to be held accountable for what I had committed myself to. And I've committed myself to being on this debt-free journey because I was exhausted with the way my bottom line looked. My top and my bottom line. I was exhausted with that financially. It tired me out, stressed me out. And so therefore, I started this channel because I needed to be held accountable. And I felt like if I started to make videos and share my journey and my experience with people and commit to having a new topic weekly, and if I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to be about it. I need to do what I say I'm going to do, right? And so I felt like if I made this channel and put myself out there like that, then I will then have to hold myself accountable to those who watch my videos. I would have to be held accountable to sticking to my budget, to sticking to this process of a debt-free journey, to being committed to it. So, this is how I decided that would be a best way for me to have an accountability partner is to start a YouTube channel. So that's why I started the channel. Outside of sharing my experience, I really needed to be held accountable because I wanted to find somebody. I wanted to find a group. I really, really did. I just could not in my area. I didn't know. I don't know. I looked, but couldn't find nothing. And so I was so desperate to get out of this hole that I put myself in, this debt hole that I put myself in, that I was like, I've got to create this channel so I can then hold myself accountable. Because if I'm telling you guys and sharing with you guys what I'm experiencing, I watch my own videos back and I hold myself accountable for the things that I say and the things that I do. So what I'm saying is that be sure, however it goes, that you find a support group that's going to help you, that's going to motivate you. And if you find somebody virtually, right? And YouTube is an amazing outlet. Pinterest is an amazing outlet. Find somebody that inspires you, that can help you get on your way, right? That can help you and shift your mindset into a more positive, proactive way of thinking. whether it be getting out of debt or whatever it is you're trying to do to better your life and to better yourself. So those are my 5 tips, you guys. Those are my 5 tips for developing and transforming your relationship with money. And I'm excited about it. And I am definitely going to be taking my own advice. I am on my way. Okay. Now my relationship with money is much better, right? It is not bad anymore. It's much better. It's in a better place, and it's only up from here. So I'm excited about the relationship that I have with money now. It's much more positive, and it's headed in the right direction. So just take those 5 tips, if you like. It's your choice. And, if you can use them, great. And if you can't use those tips, that's great too. That's fine. If you can use 1 or 2 of those tips, I highly recommend you do so. I just want to make sure that I share with you guys these tips, and hopefully they will help you along your way and establishing a more positive and transformative relationship with your money. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate that, and I hope you learned something, right? So now we're going to move on to the weekly word motivator, right? So it's time for the weekly word motivator of the week. Okay, guys, so the weekly word motivator of the week is commit. Commit is the weekly word motivator of the week, and in Spanish, it's comete. Comete is, and also commit, is the weekly word motivator of the week. So I chose this word because, you have to have a level of commitment with whatever you're trying to do, okay? So I have concluded and, thought about this so many times about commit. What does that mean to me? So I have been committing to things and not committing to things, if you will. So I'm trying to be a little bit more mindful of when I say that I commit to something and what that means. I literally had to look up and define what commit really means. And that means basically is to tie yourself, if you will, bond yourself to your word. Your word is your bond, right? So when you commit to doing something, you want to follow through on it. You're telling yourself, I'm telling myself that I am committed, meaning I have decided, I have made up in my mind that I am going to pay off my credit cards to 0, okay? And I'm going to refrain from using them. That is a commitment that I made to myself, right? And so I literally had to think about commitment because I've been saying that I was going to do a lot of things, but I have not done those things, right? I've even, had the audacity, if you will, to commit to stuff that I did not commit to. I did not follow through, I should say. I didn't follow through on those commitments. I said that I was going to do this. I committed to it. I had a personal commitment with myself. And honey, listen, it did not work. Okay. And basically that's because I didn't think about it. I wasn't serious about it. I wasn't serious about the commitment because with commitment, you have to have sacrifice with commitment. Okay. So when you commit to something, whatever that thing is, you have to be willing to make some sacrifices for that commitment. You have to be willing to make some changes for that commitment. And, for me, I am learning that I can't commit to too many things at one time. Okay. It's too much for me. It's stressful. Okay. And so if I commit to too many things at one time, the likelihood of me proceeding and trying to go forward with that is a no, it's a fail. Because I got too many things that I've decided to commit myself to, and it just doesn't work. So I have really had to think about, I'm thinking a lot while I'm on my journey, and I'm grateful for that because I'm really, really taking the time to really think about stuff now and what that really means. And so I had to really understand what commitment means. It's not just saying, oh, I commit to this. What is that going to cost me, right? What is committing to this thing is going to cost me, and what will I gain from it? So for me and my experiences, commitment for me is a loss of something, right? A giving up of something and gaining something else, right? And so from my experience with paying off my debt, I had to give up or put on pause or delay or whatever you want to call it, my instant gratifications, okay? I had to really put a pause and a hold on those things that make me excited that I want to go out and buy, okay? So I had to commit to saying no to myself in those areas, losing that, right? Losing that feeling of instant gratification, which was often hard sometimes because I'm such a I'm very instantaneous. I'm creative. So, some things it just happens. I just want it right then and there. Okay. I see a vision for it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to have that. Or I'm attracted to it in some way and I want it. Or I'm very curious too. So my curiosity is heightened and I want that thing. So for me, in the process of commitment and sacrificing on behalf of commitment to gain something greater, I've had to give up things that I wanted instantaneously. I had to deal with my instant gratification and curiosity. I had to really check that, put that in check, and put that in the box, if you will, and really focus in on what I would gain if I would commit to the process, okay? And the process, again, is to sacrifice something in order to gain something greater. So, again, I've dealt with and still dealing with my instant gratification desires and my curiosity, but I'm learning to check that. I've gotten so much better of checking that while being on my journey. And the gain for me is that I've decreased my debt. So therefore, I'm seeing a boost in my bottom line. Okay. So there, I'm able to save more. I'm able to create these different funds. I'm able to invest more. I'm able to shift my money to different places that hadn't seen the light of day that needed to. And so I've lost some things with commitment and I've gained some greater things with commitment. So if you're going to commit to something, whatever that thing is, whether it be, tackling some debt or I don't know, whatever it is you're trying to commit to, maybe going to school, maybe you're committing to taking a class in school, maybe you're committing to eating better, reducing the amount of sugar that you take in daily, or maybe you're committing to fitness and working out. Think about what you're committing to, okay? Think about what that's going to cost you, right? And what you're going to gain from it overall. The cost is minimum, but the gain is enormous, right? Oh my gosh, the gain is so fulfilling when you commit to something and you learn to be disciplined. That's the beautiful thing too about commitment. When you're committing to something, you are learning to be disciplined in your decision making, and you're learning to be disciplined in your actions as well. So again, if you're deciding to commit to something, be sure you first think about, is this something I can truly commit to? Can I follow through? Think about, what will I lose? Okay. And what will I gain if I commit to this particular thing? And let me tell you something. Your losses is nothing compared to what your gains will be. Your gains are going to be enormous. So, you're going to gain so much more. You're going to gain so much more of a deeper revelation about yourself. You're going to learn different things about yourself. You're going to realize how strong you are, right? You're going to realize that you can do it, okay? And you're going to realize that too, that what you gave up ain't no big deal. It's not a big deal compared to what you have gained because of the commitment, because of what you decided to do. So just remember, commit is the weekly word motivator of the week. And I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video. Y'all know my videos are long, okay, but they're worth watching. Okay, y'all only see me once a week for a new topic. So I want to thank you guys for joining me again today. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate y'all listening to me and tuning in. And I thank y'all for y'all support. My channel is growing person by person, subscriber by subscriber. And I'm so grateful and I'm so humble for that. I am so appreciative of you guys taking the time out to watch me. If you're watching, I thank you so very much. And I'm hoping that my videos encourage somebody. I truly do. That's really what I'm hoping for, that it just uplift, encourage somebody There's nothing like having a personal story. You truly connect to someone's personal story. So thank y'all. Thank you so much for joining me. And you guys have an amazing day, an amazing weekend. Until the next time, bye-bye.